Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 13th episode of the Bagel. It's just me and Owen. It's a chiller episode since we've had a lot of guests in these past two or three.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a little chiller this week, but there's still a lot of things going on, like baseball, and hockey are coming to a close. The draft is that this weekend or this weekend we're recording on?
Look at this next weekend.
Okay, so they're not even gonna hear about it, anyways.
Yeah.
And then uh, oh yeah, I kind of want to get into it because it's one of my finally saw Batman, so we could talk about
We
that.
could finally talk about it.
Um, but I think it was a great movie. I definitely see what people said. There are parts though where I feel like it trailed a bit. Um, but overall, it was pretty jam packed. The action was probably the best action we ever seen in a Batman movie.
Yeah.
Um, but I do feel like villains wise, I do like how they ended it. But they're definitely not my favorite portrayals of the villains. But I still think they're done pretty decently.
Yeah.
Or at least the best they tried to make that world out to be. Um, yeah, I do wonder what they're gonna do with Joker because the Joker looks so weird.
He does. And he kind of the way he speaks is kind of like Heath's a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like they were going.
Took inspiration for it.
I feel like it would have been really cool to see Walking Phoenixes.
Maybe,
but,
yeah.
His is probably an entirely different thing. But yeah, it was Robert Pattinson's probably my
new favorite.
Yeah, him or Bale, and then Keaton or Kilmer are
yeah
third.
It's probably makes sense.
But yeah, I'll probably have to watch some of the others because I still think I like DeVito's Penguin more than this Penguin, and Jim Carrey's and Dano's is very two-way. They both almost act the same in certain ways when they act crazy and start singing and stuff.
Yeah. It's just the way that the thing is, Carrie had issues just the way he was. He was too like his plan wasn't really executed well.
Yeah, he was too rambunctious.
And but what I did like about him is that he despised Batman. He tried to do his plans because of his jealousy of Batman, not because of the way Batman was. Whereas the Riddler in this movie based his plan off of how Batman did his stuff. Like he took inspiration from Batman. I don't know. I don't necessarily like that because Riddler doesn't really care for Batman.
Yeah, Riddler's not really supposed to like him at all.
Yeah.
And it was like he was trying to work with him, kinda, and then it didn't work, and then he was like, "Well, you're stupid," and then all that crap happens.
Yeah.
But I just like the ending because a lot of the other movies like to kill off their characters or they disappear. Where this one we will probably see him in the future.
Yeah.
We might not see him in the next movie. Maybe it'll be Penguin v Batman, maybe with a new villain.
Maybe.
And then I feel like unless we do see him in the next, but I feel like they'll probably bring them back like in the third movie. I think they'll try and go for a trilogy.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, Pattinson is very more. I didn't dislike his Bruce Wayne. I think it was done fine because he was younger. But I will say he's definitely more. I do like how he's a detective a little more, but he is way more like emo, pretty much.
Yeah.
He's tenfold emo versus like Kilmer. I'm not really gonna say Keaton because Keaton was way older Batman, so you could say he was emo in his youth and then grew up. But I will say versus the others, or like Bale. Bale was very like kind of just to himself. He wasn't really emo. Or Pattinson is just full blown. Even the way he like dresses and walks and acts.
I think Kyle said something like that technically Bruce Wayne wasn't in that movie because he didn't really, just because he was just becoming Bat. I think that's like a couple weeks after he became Batman or something.
Yeah.
and he didn't really care for his Bruce Wayne persona at the time. He didn't act like Bruce Wayne, like Bale, like you know how Bale has the public image of Bruce Wayne. He goes out as Bruce Wayne. He's like, I own the place, but this one didn't. He tried to like just stay away from everybody.
Yeah, and it's Alfred. I like the Alfred because Alfred is kind of like pushing him, to do these things.
Yeah.
I definitely really like Alfred when he's like gets all blown up and then he's talking to um Bruce, and I really like that interaction between them because you could tell it was like Alfred wasn't trying to be like a father figure, and he was the one I guess that trained him in this certain universe. So Ra's al Ghul isn't in this universe, I'm guessing.
Probably not.
I guess that whole arc isn't a thing in this. But yeah, that's still pretty cool. Yeah. It does kind of bother me that he does seem a little more powerful than almost Bale's, because he doesn't really get his ass beat. He kind of kicks everyone's ass. Which, the only thing that would bother me is this is the first few weeks he's became Batman.
Yeah.
And he's somehow beating all these people, but Bale can't. Bale is literally trained by a better fighter, but, can't put up a fight against certain people.
I think that's in part to, well, if you look at who Pattinson's Batman played in this, or faced against in this movie, he only like fought just goons, which are not hard for Batman.
Yeah.
And then his toughest opponent's probably the Riddler, like face to face, but the Riddler's not really a
strong
physical threat. Bale had to deal with the Joker, Bane.
Yeah, a lot tougher.
Even Ra's al Ghul, who trained him.
Yeah.
But
that's where it's really tough. Like, is it my favorite Batman movie yet? Because Dark Knight is impeccable.
Dark Knight's still my favorite. I almost said against the Batman's probably second.
Yeah, because I'm really split between Bale and Pattinson, and I feel like someone like Keaton can really take the reins. It's just that Keaton is very different.
Yeah.
Keaton's like this older too and wiser, so he's just more detective, kept Batman. I will say definitely, a lot of people say like Batman and Batman Returns are little goofy movies, but they're really not. There's a lot of like dark undertones. And,
I'll give you Batman.
I mean, Batman Returns, even the origin story of Penguin isn't like goofy really. He's literally abandoned by his parents and left and raised by penguins. It's a lot more comic but I think it was still done pretty interesting. I will say DeVito's Penguin is a lot more compulsive almost. He just like kind of lets his plans go, and him in the Catwoman arc is a little weird. But beside that, I still really like him more as Penguin.
Got the best Catwoman in this movie.
Definitely. I think the best Anne Hathaway was an alright Catwoman, but I think this is definitely the best one we got. And I guess I did read she might get her own movie, her own thing.
Probably.
But as of now, it seems like the way they put it, she's probably not going to be in other movies. I was really confused when they rode the bikes, because he said like goodbye, but then they rode the bikes together, and I was like, what the heck happened? I thought they were going to...
They're just happening to leave the same way.
Yeah.
It's like if we leave Friar or something, we're like, goodbye, and then we were like in the same car just driving away.
Yeah. Right. Oops. But it's definitely, I am excited to see what they build off the universe. It can definitely be better than Cameron's trilogy. It's just first off, it's just kind of have to have a good ending, because I think if it goes head to head, like let's say the next one we get is almost like a Dark Knight or kind of like a Dark Knight, and then the third movie just like rises, then they're probably going to be the same tier.
Keep in mind this is also the first movie, and usually in superhero trilogies the second one's always the best.
Yeah.
If you look at Spider-Man 2, Dark Knight, Winter Soldier, usually the second one's the best. The only exception is probably Iron Man. The first one's the best in that one.
Iron Man, but Shrek 2 is better than Shrek 1.
Okay. It's a superhero movie.
Well, he's a superhero.
Yeah, he's just a hero.
Well, he could be.
Doesn't have any superpowers. He's an ogre.
Well, kinda. They're very strong.
Yeah. He's like a wrestler.
Yeah, you'd beat up Hulk.
Mm.
It would be a tough fight, actually. I think Shrek would be able to. But Shrek's really clumsy.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think Hulk would win.
But I think the Shrek team would beat the Avengers.
What? What?
Yeah, Giant Gingy would destroy them, and then
when you said the team, I just imagined Tiny Gingy. I didn't imagine Giant Gingy.
Well, Tiny and Giant Gingy are there. Tiny Gingy could fight Ant-Man.
That's what I'm saying. Ant-Man can go down and fight small Gingy and beat him up, and then
Giant Gingy would destroy Ant-Man, and then
Ant-Man would become giant.
Donkey and the Dragon are pretty tough. They'd destroy everything, and then Shrek's pretty tough.
I think you're a bit biased.
But Farquaad stops him, but he helps the Avengers.
Well, yeah, he hates Shrek.
Yeah, so he helps the Avengers at first,
and then Thanos steps in, but he helps out the Shrek team.
Yeah, then Shrek team would win.
Okay, yeah, got a point there.
But yeah, where were we? Back to Batman.
Yeah.
What this definitely makes me, especially as a Superman fan, I want to get a Superman movie now.
Well, we got I think the best I almost said Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah.
The best Zack Snyder movie that he's made for DC is probably Man of Steel.
Yeah, and that's not even great.
I know. I think he's done a terrible job in DC.
Yeah.
And this is gonna upset a lot of people because a lot of people like him for some reason.
Yeah, I don't really know why.
The Snyder Cut was, I guess, a bit better than Justice League, but it's the same movie.
Shit movie, yeah. I will say the new Flash looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I think they got a new actor for that. Or it looked like a new actor.
Idris Elba. Oh wait.
He's the Flash.
Never mind. He's another red character.
Knuckles.
Yeah. My bad.
But he I think that would be cool because we'll see Michael Keaton's Batman in that. It's literally the only reason I'd watch it.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting.
I want to see. They were talking. I don't think it'll be a thing anymore. He's pretty old, but of making Michael Keaton in Batman Beyond, which would be cool. Because we'd see it's the only time we'd see a future Batman, and he's old in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we see Black Adam, which I think is gonna have a different DC characters. Because in the trailer, you probably saw in the theater, they have the version of, I forget his name, of Doctor Strange, the doctor guy with the gold helmet is in it. And then there's a few other characters that are part of the Injustice League. So
yeah.
We'll probably see that, and I think a third movie is coming out, or another DC movie, but I forget what it is. Standalone.
Going back to the Riddler, because he's my favorite Batman villain. I did like some things about Carey's, just how zany he was. I guess it was a good take. I guess on the character, and then for Danos, what I liked about his is his riddles. I think he had the best
riddles were better than Carey's.
Yeah, and especially the way he went about his riddles as well. I think that's really interesting, and it got me on the edge of my seat up until the end. I was kind of disappointed in the end when he revealed why he was doing the crimes.
Yeah.
And then I think my favorite scene in the movie is when they invade him in the cafe, and he's like, I ordered the pumpkin pie.
Yeah, they just slam his head.
And then they cut away. This the Riddler question mark in the espresso, or not the espresso, the latte.
Yeah.
The espresso.
But yeah, it's tough. I actually like Carey's relationship as Enigma to Bruce Wayne's more.
That's another thing.
In Forever.
His name, Carey's name is Enigma. Fucking Danos is Ed Nashin or something.
Yeah,
it's so stupid. That's another thing I didn't like.
And I actually like how Carey's was. You see the relationship with Bruce, and it kind of is a better start to why you see him not like him, even though he doesn't. I think he does figure out that Val Kilmer's Bruce Wayne in that movie, but then he dies. So or he gets sent to the asylum. Two-Face dies.
That's what I like about Carey's also, is that he found out that Bruce Wayne was Batman, because Riddler's one of 5 Batman villains that knows Batman's Bruce Wayne because he's so smart.
Yeah.
When I watched the Batman trailer and Paul Dano goes Bruce Wayne,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's gonna know, but he never knew.
Yeah.
He just said it. He just said it. He was like, I was trying to kill Bruce Wayne. That's why he said it.
Wayne.
Like, it's so weird.
You could tell he has like a hunch. He probably thinks he's
probably, but he doesn't know like Carrie's did. And the reason why we're comparing Carrie and Dano, because they're really the only live action Riddlers besides Gorshin from the '60s.
Yeah,
show.
And that's completely different.
Yeah.
No one compares like Romero's Joker really to the new ones.
Yeah.
Because it's out of the park. They weren't really criminals. They were just like goofballs.
They were criminals.
Very low level crimes.
They just robbed places.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever murdered anybody.
No. That's why I always thought it would just be cool, like, just imagine like all the Jokers in the room and then all the Riddlers and all the villains meet each other.
I will say, for the villains in the '60s show, they probably had the best live action costumes.
Like, yeah, they were pretty.
Even the Joker.
For the time, they were good.
The Joker had a great costume, and so did the Penguin and the Riddler.
Yeah.
The Penguin's purple top hat.
Yeah, and I always thought it was funny how Romero refused to shave his mustache, so it's just covered.
Yeah, that is a little weird.
But yeah, I wonder what this new Joker will be like. Because the past two Jokers, well, almost every Joker besides Leto has been great. So, I mean,
let's see Paul Allen's Joker.
Yeah. He has a high bar to fill.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't really... It would be cool, like, we could still see even Bale's Batman make a return as an old Batman in a universe.
Right now, I think Bale's focused on MCU because there hasn't been a single trailer for it, which I'm happy about. But Thor is coming out in summer this year.
Yeah. And Guardians of the Galaxy should come out soon.
Yeah, I think MCU should start doing this with no trailers for their movies, just because I feel like it'd be better, like, surprising.
Yeah. I mean, trailers
after No Way Home, you know, because No Way Home, the trailer spoiled everything basically.
Pretty much. I don't really like watching trailers anymore because in recent term, well, it's not very recent anymore. I'd say for the entire 23rd century, a lot of movies just spoil so many scenes.
Yeah.
Even in the Batman, there's so many scenes in that where it's in the trailer, and then now it's like, oh, well, it's kind of pretty.
Or if you have a trailer kind of like Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange's trailer had a lot going on, but I don't think anything like plot revoking.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that too. That comes out in May. Sam Raimi's Doctor Strange.
Should be good.
Raimi's a great director.
I think we're seeing the council or whatever, the like magic council or whatever he goes and faces. Yeah. You see that in the trailer.
Also,
and in Zombie Strange and Evil Doctor Strange, and Deadpool is in it apparently.
I think so.
Yeah.
Professor X. I think that was debunked. I was like, how? That was literally Patrick Stewart talking.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Maybe it's a different Patrick Stewart.
Or maybe they're just trying to trick us or something.
Oh yeah.
But have you seen? This is kind of older, but have you seen Loki?
Yeah. The show?
Yeah, the show. Yeah. I feel like a lot of events that have happened in the last year for the MCU universe were an effect of Loki, because everything's going crazy now.
Yeah. I will say it is, I like the individual stuff MCU's doing now, because I do feel like they're beating a dead horse at this point, because I feel like you already topped. You already peaked.
They did.
It's just kind of
They're just trying to continue. Like, they're treating it like the comics, because obviously after the Infinity War saga and the comics that kept going, they're not going to stop making comics.
It just kind of changed, where I kind of want to see a... Well, I like what they're doing with some, but I want to see this, like, new heroes that we've never really seen before in movies. Which DC is seeming like they might go back. I mean, Black Adam.
Hopefully they do, because
he's not a hero, but
DC has some amazing heroes that they haven't really had good movies for since the 80s. Talking about Superman.
Yeah.
And Green Lantern's only had one movie, and it sucked. And Flash has never had a movie. He had a show. Green Arrow only had a show as well.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of heroes that need movies.
Martian.
Martian Manhunter. A bunch of heroes that DC needs to make movies for. And then Marvel, you look at Marvel, and they already have movies for almost every character. They just need to do a better Fantastic Four because that's their like staple comic book series, Fantastic Four. It's like one of the most popular ones, and they just didn't do it justice the 3 times they tried.
Yeah.
So if they get that right, then they're set. But that's pretty much all Marvel needs now. DC needs a few things though.
Yeah, I think DC makes better standalone movies, but they I definitely want to see a huge like take it slow and eventually maybe we could see all these heroes work together.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said with them, they should have taken it slow before. Of course they didn't, but Zack Snyder and all that. But this I think if they take these slow, like we've seen a lot of great individual, like Joker was really good, and this Batman's really good.
Yeah.
Shazam was pretty
good.
Oh
yeah, Shazam was good. Wonder Woman was good.
Yeah.
I think Wonder Woman had some good movies.
So
I haven't seen the new one, but
I heard the new one isn't that great, but
probably like an Iron Man situation.
Yeah, but still they're all pretty like they're slowly becoming better because I think the Wonder Woman's a good cast. I think Henry Cavill as Superman is a good casting. They just screwed him over.
Yeah.
And I hate the bad evil Superman trope because it doesn't make sense.
That's not how Superman is.
Yeah, it's literally making Captain America evil pretty much because they're both very similar in the way they act.
Their morals, I guess.
Yeah, their moral compasses are kind of the same.
And the way they dress, they have the same colors and all that.
Yeah.
They're both kind of the leaders of their team. I consider Batman the leader of the Justice League. But,
Justice League, it just depends how it's portrayed. I'd say in a more like sense of how the characters act, though, it's almost like Iron Man in the Avengers, though, because you could make a case Iron Man's the leader.
Well, yeah, but if you're talking about the MCU specifically, Stark in the second Avengers movie, I'm trying to think of Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
They're like on the ship, and Black Widow goes, "What do we do?" To Iron Man, and then he goes, "Don't ask me. He's the leader." And then he pointed at Captain America.
But yeah, I think it depends on because I'd say Superman would probably be a better leader than Batman.
Probably. But I do think Bruce Wayne is. Well, yeah, Stark's obviously smarter than Rogers, but Bruce Wayne's also smarter than Clark Kent.
Clark Kent is just some reporter.
Yeah. Photographer.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you're right. He's a reporter. Yeah. I'm thinking of Peter Parker.
Yeah. He meets Peter Parker. But I just think I want to see, like, I feel like they should easily make, like, a Winter Soldier Captain America almost
Superman movie.
Yeah, just kind of have it like that.
Because the way Marvel handled Captain America, I think Captain America probably has. If you're looking at just standalone heroes for the MCU, he has the best trilogy just for standalone heroes.
Yeah.
Iron Man's trilogy is great, but Iron Man 2 kind of tanks it a little bit.
A little. I probably like Iron Man a little more than his, but still.
Then again, I don't really think Captain America got his own third movie because his third movie had a lot of heroes in it.
Yeah, Civil War. Pretty much. Civil War was pretty much an Avengers. But I think if we saw like you don't even have to really do the origin story of Superman.
No, you don't, because it's been done before.
Yeah, it's been done time and time. But I feel like, maybe do it almost like what this Batman is. It's Superman, but he's been, like,
Superman
for a little short bit.
I will say, I think Henry Cavill is still a good casting.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
I feel like they could use him and almost revamp it in a way. But he, or just kind of continue from now on and have, like, villains like Brainiac, a better Lex Luthor.
Dude, we need a great Lex Luthor.
Yeah, he could be really done well.
Those are 2 villains. I think I talked about this last week. 2 villains that we need to see in each universe. They're probably the smartest villains in each universe. Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
For DC, we need to see him like a good Lex Luthor, and then Doctor Doom.
Yeah, it would be cool.
We got a Doctor Doom in the 2005 Fantastic Four, but it wasn't really good.
Yeah.
He was kind of like a jealous idiot because he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna destroy you," and then he got destroyed.
Because I feel like so far, at least in this universe, I guess, kind of if it's a connected one, the best Superman portrayal is probably in Shazam, and he's only there for a second. You don't even see his face; he's just there in a second when he goes to the school.
Yeah.
But that also implies too that Shazam has no Spider-Man, no Superman by that point. So it's pretty connected there.
Yeah.
And Shazam is weird. He takes place in like a alternate universe Philadelphia, unless it's just Philadelphia. I can't remember what to say in the movie.
Well, DC does fictional places. They have like Metropolis and Gotham City. Where's fucking Flash from?
Where's Flash from? I don't remember. Yeah.
But yeah, they have like made up places based off actual cities, whereas Marvel has actual cities.
Yeah, I almost prefer DC doing that.
Yeah, because it's their comics are supposed to be made up.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I also don't mind the way Marvel does it. Both are good takes.
Yeah, they don't like make it all about the city.
Yeah.
It's just a little more in DC. It's believable because it's completely different in a way.
You mess with Spider-Man, you mess with New York.
Yeah, which is like, it's kind of funny to hear now.
Yeah.
Joey Coco Diaz.
Yeah.
We have to see him in Batman.
Maybe. Wait, did we see him in Batman?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought he was in there.
But... That would be funny.
You mess with Batman, you mess with Gotham City.
You mess with Gotham City. It's like a white DP.
Yeah.
He, but yeah, I'm definitely excited for the new Batmans. It kind of makes me want to rewatch Joker, this Batman. Even though they're not completely really similar at all, it just kind of reminds me of how just gritty and dark it is. Yeah. Like the Joker, where the Joker, I think, is definitely, as of now, probably the greatest DC movie that has been made. But yeah, it's definitely excited, and I think Pattinson seemed to be comfortable with being Batman.
Yeah.
He filled his shoes well, which isn't really easily done. Only Val Kilmer could do that.
Okay. Yeah, you're thinking of Clooney.
Yeah, oh yeah. But yeah, that would be the most hilarious thing. A No Way Home, but it's Batman.
Dude,
what's with the suit?
Like, Bale's like, I'm not wearing hockey pants. And then, and then Clooney goes up to him. He's like, well, you should be look at my bat ID. Bat ID right here.
What is it? Keaton would almost be the leader in that.
Well, yeah, because he's the oldest.
Yeah.
Besides Adam West, but he's dead, so we can't do Adam West.
Yeah. It'd be cool where it's like at Adam West's funeral and they all come and then he. Yeah, the plot of the movie is just like, I don't know, all the villains come from the other universes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's pretty much No Way Home.
Yeah, basically. I will say, George Clooney's freaking Batman ID card, he had like a credit card and an ID card. Yeah. Why do you have an ID card as Batman? You want to give away your identity?
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
Just wanted to talk about that for a second.
Such a goofy... This is a movie where it's so bad it's funny.
Yeah. There's a poll that like a superhero page on YouTube did, like the community tab. They were like, which movie you're forced to watch a movie the rest of your life, and which one do you choose? And there was like a bunch of shitty movies, and then Batman and Robin, and everyone clicked Batman and Robin because they're like, all right, all the other movies are unbearable to watch, but this one is at least has some funny moments.
Yeah, it does. Bane is in it. A more comic accurate Bane is in that movie than in
Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Well, Christopher Nolan was just trying to do a take. Like his own take of Bane.
I just didn't like that arc at all.
It was weird.
And also the city kind of being like unbelievably.
I watched how it should have ended literally last night for Dark Knight Rises, and like it's like Bane like talking to the people, and he's like, I'll give you guys anything you want. He's like, and they're like, all right, then put the bomb away. He's like, well, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And then he's trying to do like a revolt for the people, but he's trying to blow up the city. It's just weird.
Yeah. And it's almost unbelievable to where it gets to that. I will say, like, the Riddler at the end, too. It's like, how did the Riddler get all these vans and all that? I understand him having the other
social media page.
But yeah, only like 500 people. It's like believing that those 500 people would actually go and do that, which I don't even think is believable.
I like how it was like an Instagram page.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb. But I do like the part where you're like Batman, I don't know, puts steroids in his body. I don't know what he's putting.
I was talking to Jacob about that because we were obviously at the movie together. Shout out to Jacob.
Holy Cross.
Yeah, it actually is.
Yeah.
He took like the steroid thing, and he said like, oh, maybe that's like a thing for Bane for a future plot point for Bane, like that.
Oh, what he uses?
Yeah, what he uses, and I'll be
cool.
I said that'd be interesting.
I feel like we've seen Bane too much, but it'd be cool to see that one.
Yeah, I want to see like interesting Bane because if we have a combination of Tom Hardy's and whoever the fuck played him in
Batman Forever,
and Robin,
or Batman and Robin Forever, don't have them.
If we have a combination of those two, it'd be good because the thinking of Hardy's, but like the actual aspect of the other one
would be cool.
Yeah.
Having like serum in his back and shooting. I actually like his comic mask more than Rises.
Yeah.
Because it's the red eyes, and I feel like they can make it look cool.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he has a villain though. It's like he has to lose. Like he's an unwinnable villain pretty much.
Well, yeah.
Like villains that can win and kind of it be half and half in like a Empire Strikes Back movie part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Would be Joker. Riddler could win. Dr. Freeze, because that's like a complete different arc, which would be cool to see in this one.
Yeah.
Because this Batman is kind of darker, but then you have someone that's because the Riddler had some good points in it.
Yeah, his crimes were like thought out, and he targeted people based off of their status.
Yeah, no one really did like all the people he killed weren't like great people, anyways. No. So Freeze would be cool in this because Freeze is better in a Riddler in the sense he's like a better person. He's kind of just not. So that'd be a cool arc. I want to see Killer Croc, but I don't think we'll see Killer Croc. Mad Hatter would be awesome. Can't really see him in this universe.
Mad Hatter, yeah, I think Mad Hatter's the most psychotic villain of Batman's, which is saying a lot.
Yeah, and he's kind of insanely powerful versus the other ones.
Yeah.
Music Meister.
The Music Meister, that's only in like a show.
Yeah.
Right? Neil Patrick Harris.
You'd have to be in a goofy one.
Yeah.
Neil Patrick Harris is him. And then
there's a few others.
A lot of
Killer Moth.
Yeah, Killer Moth is actually a prominent Batman villain in the comics, so and an early one too at that. So
yeah,
he I feel like could be done actually pretty well. You just have to make kind of a intimidating. You almost have to be like a Green Goblin kind of because he flies around and does this stuff.
Always say that Batman and Spider-Man have the best rogues gallery out of all the heroes.
Definitely. I think is it Deadshot or Deathstroke? It's Deathstroke. Yeah.
Which I still think he's an anti-hero. I think we talked about it last week.
He's mainly like a teen. He's goofy when he's versus the Teen Titans, but he's an anti-hero when he's versus Batman.
Actually, he's goofy in the newer Teen Titans, but if you watch the older Teen Titans, he's actually kind of serious.
Yeah, he's done a little more well.
I really like the way he's done because he's like, he has people do things for him for the first couple seasons, and then he has like this build up for the final season or whatever.
Yeah.
And he even gets like Robin on his side, but then Robin tricks him or something.
Yeah. I just think you can't really have too serious with the Teen Titans movie ever. But I definitely like his portrayals against Batman. I think he's in one of the Arkham games too. He's just a lot more like serious and pissed off, and he's pretty much at first he's just like paid to kill the Batman, and then it gets personal and all that, which is cool to see. And Harley would be interesting. I mean, we haven't really seen her versus Batman.
Harley Quinn.
Yeah. Just in a standalone.
Yeah, they got the casting done well with Margot Robbie, but she hasn't been anything good, unfortunately. Yeah,
it has a terrible Joker.
Yeah, she's good. She's a good actress, but she's just been in bad movies.
Yeah, like I watched the new Suicide Squad not too long ago with Grant and Grayson. It's way better than the first one. I saw some of it before, but
Didn't you also see Birds of Prey?
No, I've never seen Birds of Prey. I've heard it was terrible.
Yeah, I thought you were the one saying it was the worst movie I've ever seen.
Oh,
maybe that was like Grant or something.
Yeah, but she's one of the better. It's like John Cena's in it and stuff like that. Polka Dot Man is really cool in that, but again, it's just like the more smaller scale villains. Weasel is in it.
Yeah.
I don't even know, like, I meant to look at, I wonder what, like, their villains, too. Like, Weasel, who's he a villain to? Or,
I have no idea.
And Bloodsport, who is Idris Elba, is in that, like, I always wondered, like, who the heck are they?
Yeah.
Villains to? I want to see, this is a villain I really want to see. And, he is a villain, he's a Batman villain in some points, a Superman villain in some other portrayals. I think originally a Superman villain, but Black Hand. He's mainly a Green Lantern villain because they switched him, but he would be awesome to see because he's kind of a his origin story could be done very well, and because he's kind of like this ordinary guy and becomes an ordinary villain, and then the Black Lantern saga would be done really well. But we need a good Green Lantern for that to build up.
Would you want a Hal Jordan or John Stewart Green Lantern?
I think they could really do John Stewart, but we need to see Hal Jordan first, almost.
Yeah.
And then a John Stewart, because I feel like if we see Hal Jordan first, and they kind of do the arc with Sinestro, do like a Yellow Lantern arc, and then maybe a Red Lantern arc with Atrocitus or whatever. Get 2 movies, and then I feel like we could see Stewart come into that universe, and then the one guy, Caleb or whatever, that's like becomes the White Lantern, I think.
Something like that.
We could have him because he's kind of like the chosen one of the Lanterns, so we could see him versus the Black Hand arc. Yeah. Because the Black Hand he's kind of OP because he literally gets all the dead superheroes from other universes to kill everyone.
Who would you want to play Hal Jordan?
I don't know. I think Ryan Reynolds was a terrible casting for Hal Jordan.
Really?
Yes.
I thought he was a good casting, just bad script.
I don't really like him as an actor.
Really?
Yeah.
I think he's a great actor.
I don't think he's a good serious actor. I think he's a great comedian, goofy actor, but I think here's a bold take. I think Adam Sandler is a better serious actor than Ryan Reynolds.
I don't know.
I've seen like 3 or 4 serious Adam Sandler movies and he knocks it out of the park. When he tries, when they give him the opportunity. But Ryan Reynolds, I don't think, when they give him the opportunity, I don't think he does it too well. But that's a bold take. Ryan Reynolds is awesome, but that's just how I feel. I think Ryan Gosling could be a good Green Lantern. That would be a bolder take, but...
How about Josh Peck?
You could. He's a little too goofy, but I think if we gave him a shot...
That's the thing. I don't think Hal Jordan's as serious as you're giving him. I think he's...
He's so pretty. He's like half and half. He's a serious guy, He's witty.
Yeah.
Which I think we could see a Josh Peck in. Because now that I look, I feel like Ryan Gosling would actually be a pretty good. Yeah, depending on the Deathstroke, he could be a good Deathstroke. Yeah. Because he'd be a good like quiet.
Character.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Josh Peck could. That would be very bold. I think if we gave him a shot, I feel like you could give Drake Bell a shot at being serious.
Yeah, I just wouldn't be able to take Drake as serious just because his voice is a little bit more like Josh.
He has to play like a younger guy.
Drake's a good fit for Spider-Man. He was
definitely that would work.
He was a good voice for Spider-Man, but that show wasn't very good. Ultimate
Drake
Spider-Man.
could be a good Robin. Okay. That would be an interesting Robin.
Good. He looks older though. That's the thing.
And also. This is kind of off track, but in the Batman movie, is that kid that Bruce saves and all that, is that going to become
maybe
Robin?
Could be. We'll see. We haven't really gotten a good Robin yet.
So that would be cool to see. I really want to see a Nightwing.
Yeah. Eventually.
Yeah. And then was the other guy Red Hood?
Yeah.
Would be cool.
Have you played the new Lego Star Wars yet?
No, I heard.
I haven't either.
I'd say it's good. I've heard everyone, like, all the complaints about it are very minimal. There's no co-op, though, I think.
Really?
Or it's either there's co-op and no online, or it's online and there's co-op. I can't remember. It's one or the other.
That's strange. Usually there should be co-op.
Yeah, because people were complaining about that. And some people complained that about the cutscenes, but it's a Lego movie. It's a Lego game.
Yeah.
I'm not really too
invested
on that. It's just honest, it's fun, and that's what it seems like it is.
Yeah. And their voice actors are like all the prequels. Voice actors are Clone Wars characters, or they voice them in the Clone Wars.
Yeah. Don't they have Obi-Wan?
Obi-Wan, yeah. I forget his name, but he does a great job in the Clone Wars, and then Anakin's I forget his name too.
Yeah. Hayden Christensen.
The names will come to me after the podcast probably, but I just can't think of them right now. Dooku's is also voiced by Dooku, and then Palpatine.
Yeah.
As well.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah. What were we talking about?
I think Obi-Wan's James something Taylor, and then Anakin's Matt Lanter or something.
Matt Lantern.
Not Lantern. But Lanter.
Yeah, but yeah. Oh yeah, back to like Lantern, Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Hal Jordan could be maybe. Yeah, I think we could see a Peck as him.
You know,
Stamos.
Stamos, just
he would have to be like a different hero.
He could be I don't know.
Yeah, you'd have to be like a flashy hero that's kind of like the public loves and is very witty.
Superman.
Like that. He could. That would be an interesting.
He needs to bulk up a bit.
Yeah, that'd be a little more comical almost, but I feel like that he could do a good Superman.
Yeah.
Chris Evans could probably do a good Superman because of what he saw, but that would be too weird because
we just saw him as the character we saw him as.
Yeah. But yeah. I do definitely think, because I don't like Aquaman as much as you like at all. But
I think that Aquaman movie was great.
Yeah.
Holden and I disagree with that.
And I definitely think like in our friend group, a lot of people like Aquaman.
Yeah.
Because literally everyone has told me in my friend group that likes Aquaman I know a lot of people don't like Aquaman, but I like Aquaman. But it's like everyone, and I was like,
well, maybe
it's the Superman trope where everyone loves Superman, and then goes, I hate Superman. But everyone says that.
Maybe it's just like you feel that way because you view those characters those ways, and like you just feel like nobody agrees with you. But I feel like when it comes to Aquaman, at least, I feel like I talked to you and like Grant and like another person, I think it was Chase, and I was like, Aquaman's a great hero, and you guys were like, what?
Well, Grant likes him now.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Grant used to hate him.
Oh, because Grant yelled at me when I was talking. I was like, Aquaman sucks, and he was like, you know what?
Yeah, I agree. Aquaman's great.
But I don't hate Aquaman. I just don't like Aquaman.
Like, even though you hate Aquaman, you have to agree though that Jason Momoa is a pretty good casting.
He's great for Aquaman. I actually like. I do take back because I feel like at first I wanted to see an old, like more true to comic Aquaman, but I feel like his Aquaman is better.
Yeah.
I just can't ever take Aquaman seriously, and I can't really bring myself to like Aquaman.
You may not be able to take him seriously, but Aquaman is one of DC's most iconic heroes.
Well, definitely, yeah.
So you have to have him in movies.
Yeah, he's a must.
Like him, Shazam, and Wonder Woman, and Batman recently have all had good movies for the DC universe.
Yeah.
But that's all. We're still waiting on like Flash and all the characters we mentioned before. But.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I just also I think it's like John Cena has his character from Suicide Squad as a show in DC.
Oh yeah.
I think his name's Judgment. He's kind of like in more evil Captain America, pretty much. Because he just like kind of listens to whatever for the U.S. But like even the bad stuff, he just goes around and kills people.
Yeah, a lot of people compare him to Dave Bautista for the DC universe. Because they're both wrestlers and they're both heroes now.
And he even though I like Dave Bautista 10 times more than John Cena, but
I like John Cena.
He's a bit of a sellout, but I won't get into that. He
played Juliet O'Hara's brother.
Yeah, and Fred's dad in the Fred movie.
Oh yeah.
But he, there's a scene in his show. I just saw it where he's like Aquaman fucks fish, and everyone else is like, what? And he's like, he does it, I tell you. And then his trope is kind of like he's like, kill your villains so they don't commit crime again, and all the other heroes like, oh, you can't kill people, that's evil.
Yeah.
And there's like he kills someone and he was like, where were you, fish fucker? To Jason Momoa was in it, and he was like fuck off. And then the Flash and that goes, is it true? And he's like, shut the fuck up. It's just funny. Well, I mean, it probably is true, let's be honest. He's in the sea.
Maybe.
But it's not weird for him because he's technically kind of a fish. Kinda. assimilated.
He's a human with abilities to breathe underwater.
Yeah, so he's pretty much a fish. Yeah, I thought that was funny. But he I feel like would be a must if we see all these characters come back again.
Yeah.
Him, Wonder Woman, because the Justice League, like Marvel, is like you kind of have to have a setup. And I didn't really like the lineup they had. They almost had two less of people in this past Justice League.
Yeah.
Where I feel like you gotta have Martian in there. Green Lantern has to be in there.
Yeah.
All the other ones that were in Justice League, obviously.
DC has great shows, but the way they've portrayed Hal Jordan recently has just not been good.
Yeah.
And the animated shows, they make him like an asshole. They make him kind of like a Guy Gardner type.
Yeah.
And I don't like that because Hal Jordan's not that way.
Yeah, he's kind of supposed to be nicer.
Yeah.
He gets his ass beat so much. He's way more powerful than.
Than a lot of the heroes. Because there was one scene where Batman goes, "Don't mess this up, Hal," like you usually do, and he's like, "What?" And then he's like, "No, I got it easily," and then he got destroyed, and then Batman had to save the day, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
He's like way more powerful than Batman.
Yeah,
he'd kill Batman any day. Almost a lot of the characters would kick Batman's ass any day. That was almost the point in the old shows because that's where Batman like uses smarts and like ability.
But that's something I need to, even in like the cartoons. We need to see like a Hal Jordan that's kind of like Jon Stewart in the old Justice League show.
Yeah.
If you have characters like that, then that's fine. Hal Jordan's kind of similar to Jon Stewart.
Yeah. And that would be cool to see. But yeah, they gotta like start the Green Lantern soon, and everyone I feel like is really scared.
Yeah.
But it's literally simple. Don't use too much CGI. Don't have Ryan Reynolds, and make the villains better. I didn't really like their
Sinestro.
Yeah, it's Sinestro, because Sinestro wasn't really in the main villain.
He fought him at the end though.
Yeah, at the end, and it was just a cliffhanger to the Yellow Lanterns and all that. Which I think that you should kind of scratch that and go straight into the Yellow Lantern arc with him. Just kind of have him become Hal Jordan and explain that, or don't even have that again. It doesn't really need to necessarily done, but probably does need to be done because no one's really seen a lot of Green Lantern movies. So you probably have to have like a little bit of an origin story, and then the Green Lantern fight and all that, and at the end, because they kind of work with the Green Lanterns later, so it would be cool at the end where they fight. They could go multiple ways with it, but I want to see that lead into like the Red Lanterns and then the multiple lanterns, and then we get to see space, in DCU, and Darkseid could be hinted in this unless we get a good Superman. And I think it would be really cool to see that.
That would be cool.
Again, here's a Blue Beetle. Be a cool movie. He's like a Miles Morales of DC, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because that Spider-Man and him literally act like the same. They're like these goofy young teenagers.
Yeah.
Only he has to be in like a goofier Batman because he's the person who he obsesses over. He's like a Robin.
Kinda.
Double down Robin.
Yeah.
Nightwing, again, like I said before, it would be cool to see his own movie or
in a Batman movie.
Yeah, him lead into the Batman.
I think it'd be cool to see a live action Teen Titans movie.
Yeah, that would be cool. Really hard to cast.
Really hard to cast. Cool. Well, it'd be alright because Cyborg could be easy to cast.
Yeah.
I think the toughest castings would be Starfire and probably Beast Boy.
Yeah. Beast Boy, you have to have like a young short guy.
And paint him green.
Yeah.
You could do fucking, what's his name from Parks and Rec? Tom? Yeah. Just paint him green and there you go.
I feel like that could actually, he's a little too old now.
Kinda. But he's like the annoying little brother type.
Yeah. I feel like that would work pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't really, unironically, I feel like Ben from Parks and Rec could be a Robin.
Yeah. That'd be good. And then, fucking Chris Pratt is Cyborg.
Yeah, that would be funny. He could just be a Guardians that goes into another universe.
Like Rocket's like, here, you need to do this, Quill, and he's like, what? And then they go in a portal, and he's like, what is going on here?
Just like see the T. That would be cool if Guardians did that, because it would be like a goofy, especially with Titans, because it's two kind of
different,
goofy crews that would fight against each other.
Yeah, I think Titans would win probably.
Yeah,
because the Guardians have, Groot and Groot's power and Drax's power and fucking Quill and Rocket's brains, but I don't think it compares to Cyborg or Beast Boy, because Beast Boy can turn into any animal.
Yeah, and just then attack them.
Raven's like a very powerful, like mystical art type character, and then Starfire's an alien. She's basically like, she's a dulled down version of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it would be cool to see that again. It would just be really tough.
Yeah, I will say this. I'll probably give Quill this. Quill could probably take Robin one-on-one, but that's better.
Yeah, and then get beat up.
Yeah.
I will say Star-Lord is one of the coolest superhero names.
Yeah, I like his outfit too.
Yeah, and James Gunn is a pretty good, great director.
Yeah.
His Suicide Squad is a little toned down versus Guardians of the Galaxies, but you instantly know a James Gunn movie when you see it, because it's the same cinematics and stuff like that, and he does that really well. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait for Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah, I've been waiting for so long.
It's just, I feel like it's gonna be great. We're gonna see Adam Warlock in it. He's gonna be all gold. I don't know who's playing him, but he's
Zac Efron.
Yeah, Zac Efron. That'd be awesome.
Efron would be a good Hal Jordan.
Yeah, that would, if his acting skills were better than they were.
Yeah. He
was great in 17 again, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, but he just, I don't know, he's kind of just has to be that kind of character 17 again is.
Yeah.
That's probably the most serious we'll really see him get.
Troy Bolton.
Ted Bundy, he was great. Actually,
he was a good Ted Bundy.
He could be a villain. He's like, Ted Bundy was great.
I think he was casted as Adam Warlock, if I'm not mistaken. You can look that up if you want.
Favorite movie all time, that happens. I think that would be great.
Yeah, I'm not sure. People can correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that he was casted as Adam Warlock, but that's why I mentioned him.
He deserves to be in more movies. He's a great actor.
Yeah, that Ted Bundy movie, he did a really good job.
Yeah. James Franco, if he didn't have those things going on, I think he's firing back to be like innocent or get his names cleaned.
It was bad timing for those things to come out, because he was supposed to be in No Way Home.
Yeah, that would have been awesome to see. Mm-hmm. Even though he wouldn't really, it would just be another hero, because he would obviously be like, oh, who's this jerk?
Yeah.
Even though it would be cool, because he would probably fight any other Spider-Man besides Toby's.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to see him versus Tom, and then Andrew pulls up and he's fighting Andrew, and then finally Toby shows up and goes, "What are you doing?" He's like, "There's 3 of you. I'm gonna kick your 3 little ass."
Or it could be like pulled from, because Harry died obviously. It could pull Harry from like Spider-Man 2 when he knows that he knows Peter's Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
Like right then, and he's like, "You killed my father." Yeah. And then he like goes into the universe and he's like
finds his father.
He's like, "You killed my father, Peter." And then he's like, "Well, he's right behind you." He's like, "What?" And then he's right behind him.
And then he would probably betray Harry. So I mean,
yeah,
it'd be pretty interesting. And then because I guess it was written well as just like they got an old Toby, so we don't really see Harry, and having Harry at almost any point would really change things. It would have been done great.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting because Toby.
He's like old.
Yeah, in No Way Home.
He's a Michael Keaton Spider-Man in this now.
Yeah, Toby in No Way Home is the same age as Dafoe was in 2002 Spider-Man.
Yeah. And I like to think that in he fought Mysterio and all that.
Yeah.
As Bruce Campbell's Mysterio.
Yeah.
Which I think would have been a great Mysterio.
Because Bruce Campbell's already everything else.
Yeah, and he played multiple characters in those movies, so it would have been a cool like Easter egg.
He named him Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then he didn't let him in the movie. And then he tried to get him to propose.
Yeah.
So he ruined his relationship with Mary Jane.
Pretty much.
And they tried saving it.
Yeah. Which is actually kind of cool, because it would be like he reveals himself. He's like, "I was there all along."
Yeah.
And I think they were gonna do him and Vulture, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the plan?
Well, yeah. Mysterio was supposed to be caught at the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And then Vulture is the main villain.
Which even though I think it would have been better reverse.
Really?
Vulture gets caught because Bruce Campbell's still him, and you just like Bruce Campbell, and then because Bruce Campbell was casted as him.
Yeah. You really should watch Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah, I heard that is great.
The first episode has the Vulture in it, and then Mysterio's in like the first episode of season 2. So okay, that's what I thought of.
Isn't Chameleon in that?
Chameleon's in it. It's funny because at the end, a little bit of a spoiler. Harry's like in the helicopter with Norman Osborn, and the Green Goblin's revealed as Norman Osborn in the helicopter, and he's like, "Wait a minute, Norman Osborn never apologizes," and then he takes off his mask and it's Chameleon.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like Chameleon. I feel like he'd be portrayed cool in like movies even because he has a blank face. Like he takes it off. Yeah. He's like silver. I feel like as long as they don't like make him too creepy looking because Marvel is in that way. Mm-hmm. Just have like a silver face and then you just switch. One of my favorite, unless you want to go, I think it's not Ultimate Spider. I think maybe it's one of the Ultimate Spider-Mans. Favorite comics I read is the one where Chameleon wins. This is like a super dark one. Yeah. Chameleon pretty much kills. He kills Aunt May and then switches into Aunt May to trick Spider-Man. That's weird. And then he kills Mary Jane and then switches into Mary Jane. That's so weird. And then at the end when he fights Spider-Man, Spider-Man's pissed obviously because he killed everyone he loved. He switches into Spider-Man and they're all like, and as he's getting beat up, he's getting beat up and he like looks more and more worn down. And then the Chameleon kills Spider-Man and that's how the universe ends. Yeah. Which is like a cool villain winning.
Another villain from Spider-Man that we're getting a movie of, I believe, is Kraven the Hunter.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think that's my dad's favorite villain.
That's pretty cool. Underrated, not really seen a lot.
Yeah. He's also in Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah, oh, okay. Mad
Hatter.
Yeah. I want to see him kill Batman in the universe. I want to see a movie where the Batman gets killed by a villain. I almost saw
it in Dark Knight Rises.
Almost.
But he's like sacrificed himself or whatever.
Yeah.
He killed Batman because you saw him later as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And that's how he's trying to end off as.
And that's where that universe kind of ends off. But I want to see like a reemergence or something.
There was
because Gotham's always going to need Batman.
Yeah.
So how is that?
Yeah, there was rumors for a fourth movie for the Dark Knight series, but Bale rejected it just because he was like, that was a good ending for my character. Oh. So that's what he did.
Because I feel like it would have been, because like it's almost like a bad ending. It's a good ending for him.
Yeah.
Almost a bad ending for Gotham.
Yeah, because I think that one guy who like got into the Batcave at the end of Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
I forget the actor's name.
That's Dick Grayson.
Yeah, Dick Grayson. He was. I think he was going to be the solution for Gotham since Batman died. Yeah, but we didn't see it.
It would be kind of a funny movie just because it would be like everything they built was for nothing. Yeah. But like we see him try to fill his shoes, but it doesn't work, and he just gets like killed by like Killer Croc or something, and and like it's just rampant, and we see all these villains coming and they run the city.
Or he's like. Or you have like Clayface as Flash, and he's like, "Yo, you gotta help me out with this villain." And then he shocks Clayface. He's like, "What gave me away?" He's like, "You overplayed your part, yo." that's still. I gotta show you that. Remind me after this podcast to show you that video.
All right.
Because it's still one of my favorite videos from cartoon. That's from the original Justice League.
Oh yeah, I've always watched like later of that because it'd be on TV, but it'd be out of order.
Yeah.
Speaking
of Bale, I watched. I've watched it 3 times in the past 5 days, but I watched American Psycho for the first time.
Great movie.
3 nights ago, I believe, and then I watched it again last night with my sister. It was her first time watching it.
Oh really? She liked it?
I talked about it to her, and she had really low expectations for it. And I'm glad she had low expectations for it because she actually liked it.
Yeah, it's one of the best portrayals of a novel in a film.
It is.
I think...
And there's not many killers like Bateman. Like, he's kind of an interesting killer.
Yeah.
Because he's not the same as Hannibal Lecter or, like, any other fictional serial killer.
Yeah, and he's generally... In the movies, like... I like how the movie's message itself is like more of that. It's not just really about a serial killer. It has a lot of like economic undertones and how corporate society and this kind of how the world society is almost like a Joker is now.
Technically,
or Fight Club. They're very commentary on that, which is pretty interesting, and how everyone kind of ignores and acts and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I was talking to my sister about it too. I was like, it was after Defoe interrogates him.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, so that's basically Green Goblin interrogating Batman for the Joker's murder.
Yeah.
And she goes, the Joker was in this? And I was like, yeah, that was Jared Leto. And she was like, that was Jared Leto? No wonder I didn't like him.
Paul Allen.
Yeah. I like how he used his apartment multiple times after he killed him.
Yeah.
He basically confessed because he wanted to see like, he wanted to be different, I guess.
Yeah.
Technically, he didn't want.
And it's kind of, and a lot of this up for debate where I watch is like what is really real, like what's in his head at the end and what's really going on.
The director kind of debunked that. She said that none of it was in his head.
I mean, if you read the book's a lot more like what's in his head or not.
Yeah.
It's left up for question, which is just synonymous to the movie. The movie does some things different though, but
yeah,
I still think it's done. I think it's one of those things where it's almost better than the book. The book's a little more graphic.
Yeah,
but,
I need to read the book.
It's like Fight Club, for instance, is a better movie
than the
book. But the book's still pretty good. It just has a better ending.
And you're not gonna like this, but Diary of a Wimpy Kid has better books than movie.
What? Maybe the new one. Yeah, then I agree.
Well, you look at the first movie in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and it's just literally the same exact thing as the book.
Well, yeah, but the second and third one are very.
The only difference is Patty's a nerd in the books, and Patty's kind of like a bully.
In the first movie too, they have that girl that's not even in.
Yeah, that's true.
Chloe Moretz.
Yeah.
As like a commentary, it's almost like they tried to add commentary to the.
Yeah, kinda. But yeah. I'll give you Roger Rules. That's a really good movie.
Yeah.
And then Dog Days is good, but the Diary of a Wimpy Kid book series just has a lot more to offer.
The book series, well, yeah, obviously, but the book series trails and they're literally psychotic, where they make sense in the movies.
That's true.
At least Greg has kind of a good ending in the movies. He's a psychotic, like psychopath. He's not like Big Nate is a way better person than freaking Greg Hemsley, and Big Nate gets a better ending too.
What about Captain Underpants?
Well, he's not really the main character in that. It's the kids.
Yeah. Based in like Ohio or whatever. They say Ohio a lot because Dave Pilkey's from Ohio.
Yeah, I used to read all those books all the time as a kid.
Yeah.
Great series.
But back to American Psycho. For a little bit, and then we'll wrap it up.
American Psycho's. It is, yeah, it's a definitely interesting movie. I was surprised you watched it for the first time. Then I saw it a long time ago.
I watched clips a lot. Like, I've known about it for years. But I actually sat down and watched it in full.
Grant watched it because it was such a big meme like a year ago or so.
Yeah, it's still kind of a meme.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it's one of the rare horror movies that's got a lot of comedy in it.
Yeah, and that's probably why there's a lot in it. That's why I always thought it was weird, like when it became like a meme kind of out of nowhere. I've seen this years ago. What is this?
When I got to Paul Allen's place, I had sheer panic when I looked out the window and saw it overview the park.
Yeah.
It's obviously more expensive than mine.
Yeah, that.
I calm myself and enter the bedroom.
He was part of that whole Yale thing. Yale thing?
Yeah, Yale. And then just like his fucking inner monologue is so good. Like Bale does such a good job with that.
Can't believe they prefer his card to mine.
I can't believe Bryce prefers Van Patten's card to mine. See Paul Allen's card.
Yeah, it's like one of the more iconic, especially the death. I like they reenacted the death scene, but it was I
saw that.
Yeah, him and Weird Al.
Yeah, Weird Al.
Yeah. He was killing. Don't parody any of my songs. He kills Weird Al. It's pretty perfect. But
yeah.
And it was one of those movies that was in a like scary movies and spoof movies in the future from that. Which, like I say, I think it's funny that Drake Bell played a hero in a live action movie called Superhero, which is a spoof of superhero, literally a spoof of Spider-Man.
Really?
Because he literally is Spider-Man in that, but it's obviously goofy. Which is during the golden age of spoof movies, so it's pretty good and star-studded with a lot of actors.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like a good comedic character.
Yeah.
Too bad we'll probably never see him anything besides Spanish.
Yeah, he's got a new tour going on. Did you see that?
Really? Is it in the U.S.?
I don't know. It's either Mexico or the U.S., but like, I think his probation's still going though.
What?
So he's like, I'm going on tour, and then all the comments are in Spanish.
Oh, yeah. I think all the Spanish like people like him. They don't really know what's really going on, but everyone in the U.S. doesn't like him.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
U.S. is Josh Peck's country, and Mexico is Drake Bell's.
And then Canada is Megan's.
Yeah. Even though she's from California, too.
Which is funny, because if Canada's Megan's, then that's kind of ironic, because Canadians are supposed to be nice.
Yeah. She's like a bitch in the show.
She's like a little twerp.
Yeah.
But great as Carly. I mean, she's great as Megan, too.
Yeah. I like Drake and Josh way more than iCarly, too, so it's...
Yeah, I agree with you there. iCarly's overrated.
Definitely. And I definitely... I'd say of, like, people our age, because, like, Drake and Josh was more of when we were kids.
Yeah.
I'm not Drake and Josh, iCarly.
iCarly.
Drake and Josh was kind of, like, almost too young for a lot of people, but luckily I watched the tail end a lot and, like, the reruns all the time of it, so it was... So kind of like in my head.
My sister probably prefers iCarly.
Yeah, that probably makes sense.
Victorious is a good show.
Yeah, it's a good show. I like a lot of the characters in that.
Zoe 101, but I kind of lost respect for Zoe 101 because I forget the actress's name, but she played Nicole, and they treated her like shit. And she was a little girl. She was like 13. Dan Schneider, just a terrible human being.
Yeah.
And then like basically what happened is that Jamie Lynn Spears didn't get along with her, and then Brittany came in and like yelled at her for some reason, like because Jamie Lynn like lied about something and she told her sister about it.
Oh.
And then Brittany like went in and yelled at her and she was like crying, and she said in an interview like last year, she said that like, yeah, it sucks that your like idol Brittany goes in and yells at you.
Yeah.
And she thought that she would have done a lot better because the girl that played Dana, she only played in season 1, but then she got replaced because she was too old or whatever.
Yeah.
And she, like, it was the finale season 1, but the girl who played Dana pushed the girl who played Nicole and like basically bullied her. And then when Victoria Justice came in season 2, she was kind of relieved because she was like finally a new friend.
Yeah.
But Victoria Justice treated her like shit too.
Yeah, she's not like a great person either.
No.
The good people in
It's unfortunate.
in Victoria Justice are all the dudes are pretty good people.
Yeah.
And
yeah, Zoe 101
the one girl, the emo girl is an actual good person in real life.
Fucking Are you talking about Victorious or Zoe 101?
Victorious.
Okay. Yeah, she's a good person.
And Ariana isn't terrible.
She's
human being.
Yeah, she's nice.
She's done some bad things, but
yeah, some.
I think the shooting thing, how she handled that situation was probably
not great.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Back with Zoe 101 though, yeah, like the only people that were nice to Nicole were the guys in that show.
Yeah.
Corey in the House's brother.
Yeah.
He was in that show. And then I forget his name. I think it's Matt Underwood. And then I forget the other guy. The guy who played Jason Logan.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool. And then fucking the girl who played Quinn was pretty nice also, but that's about it.
Corey in the House makes me sad because that actor, Corey,
he's the worst brother of those two.
Yeah, he's such a cool like character, but it's terrible that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so funny. I forget who said it. They're like, they're like, he's over 18? I thought he was still a kid. And it was like 2 years ago. He's like, he's in his late 20s by that point.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate with Zoe 101 because they had like a reunion or whatever, and they had all the characters except for Nicole.
Yeah.
So
even she's kind of a big character.
So they even had Dana.
Really?
Dana was only in one season. Yeah, Nicole was in the first 2 seasons, and then she quit on her own terms because it wasn't good for her mental health.
Yeah. It's like Sam in iCarly.
Yeah. Jeanette McCurdy.
Yeah, I feel like Gibby, was he's a cool dude. He has a YouTube channel. He was in Shrek Retold.
Noah Monk.
Yeah. When they retold the entire Shrek movie using independent creator scenes, him and his brother was Donkey. He was Shrek. It was very good.
I forget his name in the show. It's like Gilly or something.
Yeah, Gilly or something.
Young Gibby.
But yeah, he was really good in that. And he said like him talking. He's like you can kind of tell weird shit was going on, but he was kind of like kept away from that because he was just like this goofy third party character. So he was in almost every episode, but again, he wasn't like this huge part. I wonder how Trainer, because he was one of the older ones, so I wonder how he felt about that.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad that Nicole did say all those things because she said it in like an Instagram live with her husband. She was doing a video with her husband, and she like talked about Zoe 101. Yeah. And it was like an hour long of her talking.
Who's your husband?
I don't know. But she was like talking about it. And I'm glad she said everything she said because it kind of reveals even more of how fucked up Dan Schneider is. And
well, it's kind of just like Hollywood with like child actors. It's awful.
Yeah.
God awful.
Like, because especially after so after the Britney Spears situation happened, she talked to her mom about it, and her mom was like, all right, then go talk to the director about it and like try and like get him to yell at Jamie Lynn Spears for that. And then she did that, and then what Dan Schneider said to her was like, it's Zoe 101, not Nicole 101. Knock it off. Stop acting like a baby.
Wow.
That's what he said.
What a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is so weird because he seemed like kind of cool on the Drake and Josh set.
Kind of cool. That's like the only show that he didn't like do anything bad to the actors.
I think it was because it was really early too, and I think that was his like magnum opus. That really popped off his name.
He has good shows. He's just not a good person.
Yeah. So he probably didn't was really nice to him because they literally got him super famous. He was like, these guys are my money makers.
Yeah. Interesting thing about Zoe 101, it's the only Dan Schneider it's the only Dan Schneider show without a laugh track.
Really? Mm-hmm. Drake and Josh without a laugh track, I feel like would still be just as entertaining.
Yeah, that's true.
It would just be very awkward and dry, especially when they like talk and like have a nice day, because there's a pause.
Yeah.
And then he's like don't tell me
what to do.
Yeah, and then it's just silent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. Drake and Josh, I feel like
We're watching that after I Met Your Mother.
Yes, I'd love to see a new show. I want to see a new buddy show. Yeah. Like the 2000s were so many buddy shows.
Sam and Cat.
Yeah. Like Psych, Scrubs.
Gotta watch Psych after Drake and Josh.
Yeah. Psych, Scrubs is a buddy. Yeah. It's got to be like two main
dynamics with
Drake and Josh.
Two different characters. Yeah, it's also people who like grew up with the same stuff, because if you grow up with the same stuff as the other person, like this is how Achievement Hunter was. Like Ray, Michael, and Gavin grew up in the 80s or they were late 80s but 90s and stuff. Yeah. So they grew up with the same media, so they can make those references. Drake and Josh, they're both the same age, so they can make those references. Yeah. Sean and Gus, they can make those references.
So it's and it's cool seeing the
us, we can make those references.
Yeah, it's cool seeing like a buddy movie. We've seen it in like movies more often now, but I want to see that in a like a new show.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of scared to make a new good show anymore because I mean there's so many old good ones. But yeah, it's definitely, and usually almost in story writing we kind of like there's always those two slack offs, or guys are always that like Rigby and Mordecai.
Yeah.
Jake and Finn. So it's they're almost always together. Or Blue and the kid.
Blue and forget his name.
Yeah.
Damn it.
They're like a duo.
Brown-haired guy.
Yeah. They got like most screen time in that show, I think. Jim Partner's is monkey.
Kind of a trio, but Ed and Eddie.
Yeah. And definitely, because the one, which Ed is it that's just stupid?
The single D. Just ED, Ed.
Yeah, he's almost not like there versus the other two Eddies where they're always
double D, which is Ed with two D's, and then
double D,
and then Eddie.
Yeah, because they called him Double D.
Yeah, they called him Double D because
Ed, Double D, and Eddie.
Yep.
Eddie was like the leader.
Yeah, he was. We gotta get Jawbreaker. That was like the whole plot.
Yeah.
We gotta get money to buy Jawbreaker. So stupid.
The movie was good.
Yeah. It's a goofy little show.
Very. I feel like when you talk to older people, they'll say that's one of their favorites, but underrated among people our age.
Yeah.
But older people love that show.
Mm-hmm. Other shows with the two dynamic, an interesting one.
Camp Lazlo, him and the one.
Yeah. This is an interesting one because they're two different shows, but they have a good dynamic. Is Jimmy Timmy Power Hour?
Oh really?
Yeah.
That would be
Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah.
They have a good dynamic, and looking back at it, Timmy was kind of a dick because he tried to get with Jimmy Neutron's girl or whatever.
Yeah.
And like when they swap universes in the second movie, Jimmy's like plunging the toilet, and he's like, and his dad comes in, he's like, "Hey, new Timmy!" And he's like a stupid dad.
"Hey, new Timmy!"
And he's like, "You gotta go swab the poop deck," and then kicked him out of the bathroom. And then Jimmy's like, "Now I see why Timmy has terrible teeth."
Yeah.
And Timmy was kind of a jerk, but Timmy was only good in the third one, like a nice guy in the third one, but
yeah. I guess Timmy isn't that great of a person when you even watch the show.
No, well, he kind of gets that from his parents.
Yeah.
You look at Jimmy's parents; they're a lot nicer.
Yeah.
Hugh Neutron.
Yeah, he was like a cool dude. He's just like doing all these cool things.
That's me.
When he throws the quarter into the machine.
That was so good.
I just oiled it.
Or they're both very supportive too, because when Jimmy became like the big monster or whatever, she's like Hugh.
Can I spot you?
What do you lift 3,000 pounds? They're like
offering to spot you.
So supportive.
Mom, Dad.
The only time they like refuted Jimmy was when Jimmy was like, "I want a little brother," and then they're like, "Jimbo!" And he's like, "Having a kid is complicated." He's like, "Well, it's not complicated." Then Jimmy explained it to the parents, and he's like, "Nope, I'm not."
No. Which is hilarious. I want to see all Hugh.
Yeah.
The Hugh-tron show.
Dude. It's unfortunate that kind of got canceled because of the company that made it kind of went under.
Yeah.
So that's why it got canceled.
It got a lot of popularity kind of after.
Yeah.
Things started rolling.
I watched it when it was a show, and I liked it when it was a show.
Yeah, but, same. I mean, it's one of my favorite childhood shows.
I think I like it more than Fairly Odd Parents because Fairly Odd Parents was golden when it was golden.
Yeah.
But it got old.
Dipped. Yeah.
Jimmy Neutron only had like 4 seasons, and all 4 were good.
Stayed good, and that's how shows usually go. Mm-hmm. That's where I hate that Futurama is getting made new, because it ended perfectly. It had a perfect ending.
Futurama, every season Futurama was good. I think they only had like 7 seasons.
Yeah, and Futurama technically got canceled and still had a great ending like that. So it was.
And you look at Family Guy, and they're still doing their thing.
Yeah.
Simpsons.
They're both bad. Simpsons lost characters, so it's like, why would I ever watch the new stuff?
Yeah.
But.
Pretty much.
I think they're just Simpsons at this point. I think they're just trying to go for like an unbeatable record, like 100 years of Simpsons.
We'll see how it goes because they still have to like beat Blue Bloods and Law and Order. And those long running shows.
But still, that'd be pretty interesting because Law and Order added another show. I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called.
Law and Order's insane because that's a live action show.
Yeah.
And it's been going for
Ice-T. And one of them, a rapper.
Yeah.
Everyone probably recognizes him almost probably from Law and Order more than as a rapper.
That's funny.
Cube's better. Ice Cube's better.
Yeah.
But, yeah. We have to see Ice Cube in a show.
Yeah.
But
he'll be in the new Jimmy Neutron spinoff. with
Jimmy
Hugh
Neutron.
Neutron. Yeah, he was gonna be like, Ice Cube. One day I sat on a banana and it changed my life.
It's such a like an adult joke.
It's so funny because he says that, and then Jimmy and the mom stare at him.
Yeah, like he said something weird.
He did,
which it is.
Yeah. It's so funny. And then Jimmy's friends are actually homies, unlike Timmy's friends.
Yeah, they just kind of stick up for each other, and one has their own show.
Sheen's show wasn't very good.
What? It was great.
Are you kidding me?
It was hilarious.
Okay, it did have its moments, but it wasn't as good.
Was it? Well, because it was literally kind of just Sheen.
It was
for a lot of it.
It was just Sheen.
Carl was in, but Carl was that weird.
Carl was like an alien.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You remind me of Carl." He's like, "Who's Carl?"
Yeah. Even though we called him Carl all the time.
But that's the thing. Like the only time Jimmy is even mentioned is when Sheen waltzes into his lab and he sees his rocket, and then his sign says, "Sheen, do not touch this," and then he leaves his initials JN. He's like, "JN, hey Jimmy Neutron, I don't know who JN is, but I'm gonna take a rocket."
Yeah,
that's how the show begins.
It's just hilarious. But yeah, because Jimmy's probably trying to. I feel like the show, I think it just like faded out, but it would have been cool to see a movie where Jimmy is like, "Give me back my ship," and then he goes back.
Like Planet Sheen was all a dream.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. And then like they should come out with a final like movie for Jimmy Neutron, like have a finale closure.
Yeah.
Type deal. And you have all the characters, and like it cuts to Sheen, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna take this rocket." And he's like, "No, you're not." And, like that's how it starts.
Yeah. But. Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah. And Robert Paulson, by the way, very underrated voice actor, voices Carl Weezer.
Yeah, I saw him talking to Arthur from Red Dead Redemption thing.
Oh yeah.
It's so weird. Yeah.
But very weird.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I guess we should
wrap it up.
So it's not the longest podcast.
Yeah, it was a good podcast though.
Yeah.
It's our longest with just us two.
Yeah, it's true.
So.
Any last words?
See you now. Habibi. Fucking Uncharted 3.